Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth never will. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real fast. Dealing with more and more prophecies leading us towards World War III. All right. As you know, it's not going to just pop off overnight, but these small little steps forward is going to ultimately lead to the demise of Esau Edom and his conglomeration of nations, his allies, their relationships and things like that. All right. Ultimately, we're starting to see these pieces starting to crumble between their relationships. All right. So this here article says, despite American objections, Turkey has no hesitation about buying second batch of Russian-made S-400 missile systems, Erdogan. All right. And we're getting closer and closer and closer. The picture's getting more and more clear. All right. But nevertheless, we understand how these things are going to wind up shaping up to bring these prophecies to an end, as far as the beast starting to hate the whore. All right. And all they that eat thy bread have brought thee even to the border. All right. These are these nations that are so-called allies with America for certain reasons here or there. But ultimately, sometimes people have to be allies or friends with people for for a certain not an excuse, but certain reasons, Well, I guess we got to be their friends if we don't want them to come over here bombing us and everything else like that. Who else has got our back, But now you have other options. Now you have other people that'll wind up supplying you with certain things. It's like, yo, man, well, I guess we got to sit there and listen to him because he's the one that's providing us with so-called food and everything else like that. All right. But nevertheless, now you have a different supplier of food that's supplying you with food. And so now you don't have to sit here and bow down to these people that's doing you wrong, So it says President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said he has no doubt about Turkey buying another batch of S-400 anti-aircraft system from Moscow. Earlier, the Russian exporter said a new contract will likely be signed by the end of the year. And now we're getting into more and more of the times of wars and rumors of wars. All right, you have that big flare up over there in the Middle East with Afghanistan. Now they're moving back over into other areas like Syria, and there's other areas over there that they're blowing up with as well too. You have a so-called explosion of more so-called terrorists. They're running this play again. All right, see, homeboy ain't got no character, right? He just keep running the same damn plays over and over and over and over again. All right, but now it's like I said, these prophecies are speaking, letting the weak say I'm strong. So now these nations now have a platform to stand on to so-called quote unquote bark back at America, because beforehand they was to say anything, they would just get either a sanction to where they would be left out with certain things, or they would get war waged on them. All right. But nevertheless, now you're starting to see a lot of these countries being sanctioned by America, but then they have a go around where they can get the things from Russia. All right. Now, I speak on this all the time about this. What's so bad about this S-400 and why is it such a big problem? First of all, Turkey is a NATO member, which is an American ally. All right. Now, with NATO, they pretty much or America pretty much has a monopoly on the weapon systems out there. All right. They pretty much create and distribute all the weapons out to all these countries that are a part of NATO. One of their main weapons, which is one of their newest and most expensive investments, is the F-35 stealth fighter jet. All right. Which is their newest generation of stealth fighter jets. All right. Now, we're not even going to mention how this here plane is not even up to par as far as what they, all right, we ordered X, Y, and Z, but we only got this. Right. But nevertheless, and also Turkey was a part of the program to help them create this. I believe they was a part of the heads up display and some other instrument panels as far as constructing these things. So, and now then, when they received the first batch, America threw sanctions on them, and then they just pretty much threw sanctions back on America. And then they just pretty much got to a standstill, and then they was like, all right, we cool. All right. But this still left a sour taste in America's mouth because, again, you have this stealth fighter jet. All right, that they didn't spend all this money on. They just bringing out. Now it's become rendered obsolete if you turn on the S-400 missile defense system around this F-35 because it has the radar that can wind up scanning it and, seeing all the contents that's inside of it and seeing what it's made up of. All right, this is just like to give you a small example of an equivalent to the same example. Let's say you're trying to smuggle a shovel onto an airplane, right? Now, typically in the olden days, you could just go on the damn airplane with the shovel in your luggage. Nobody would know no different, if they just don't check your bag, right? But now they got these little x-ray machines to where they send your bag through the x-ray machine and they can see through the bag without opening your bag, right? this would be the equivalent to that. That S400 would basically be like that little conveyor belt that they send your stuff through to peer inside of the bag to see all the contents in the bag. Now, the reason you put the shovel in the bag was to hide your quote-unquote secrets. But this here machine renders the bag, which being the covering for your secrets, useless, because why? We don't even need to open your bag. We can just scan the shit and then we can see what's inside the bag. We can see you got a shovel, bro. So you might as well just put the shovel on the conveyor belt, because we're gonna get the same outcome. All right, whether you put it in the bag, which is the old way of hiding it, the stealth way of doing things, but it's no longer stealth if we can see through this. So this is the equivalent of the S400 around the F-35. All right, it can scan it and see all its weak points and missile capabilities, and also download certain software up off of that thing, you know. But nevertheless, you know, this is why America is so up in arms, because they didn't spend so much money with this. Pretty much all their NATO components has at least some of these planes, all right, or are going to be using some of these planes and everything else like that. But nevertheless, you know, this renders America air superiority useless. All right, you seen what happened over in Syria, right? America was bombing the shit out of them until guess what happened? They dropped the S-400 over there. All right, they was over there damn near trying to steal Venezuela until what? They brought the S-300 over there, which the S-300 is not really built to, you know, it don't have the same radar to be able to, you know, be a threat to the S-400 as far as the stealth mechanisms, all right? But nevertheless, like I said, man, you know, if you can see these F-35s flying in, all right, you know, basically their stealth capability is rendered useless, meaning that, you know, they can fly in and before they can even let off a missile or get in, close to you, they can shoot off missiles and shoot you out the sky, all right? So it says, speaking to reporters on board his plane as he returned from a visit to Bosnia and Herzegovina on Sunday, Erdogan said defense cooperation with Russia is expanding. All right, and we already knew this was going to happen according to the scriptures. All right, because we base what we speak about off the scriptures. All right, and the prophecies. These are the things that was prophesied to happen, and now they're actually taking place. So there's no well, this might happen, that might happen, and you know, you see some of these people with all these quote unquote truth channels, and they tell you about certain things of what could happen, what couldn't happen, or possibilities of things going wrong. We just tell you the things that are happening based off of the prophecies in the scriptures. All right. So it says we have no hesitation about the purchase of a second batch of S-400 from Russia. Turkey and Russia are taking a lot of steps, whether it be with the S-400s or other areas in the defense industry. So we know, again, well, not to say that we do know, but nevertheless, we see these prophecies now starting to speak loud and clear, because we've been reading about them for so long, but now they're actually coming off the page and they're rolling in real time. Let's continue on. It says, in my last telephone talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, we discussed this topic. When I travel to Russia, we will discuss it again, Erdogan said. Earlier this week, Alexander Makeev, Director General of Rosen, a defense company, Russian state-owned arms exporter company, said a new contract with Turkey on S-400 was expected to be signed shortly. We expected the second contract on S-400 for Turkey will be signed this year, he said. All right, so we see that they're moving towards these things. We see that these things are written in the scriptures, so we know what the outcome is going to be. All right, and we know, like the scriptures say, Lord's will, I'll grab it. It's roughly paraphrasing. The Lord has raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, and his device is against Babylon the Great to destroy it off the face of the earth. All right, so this is part of those systems that's going to be used in this scenario. All right, you know, and right now we're speaking on these defensive weapons and things like that, in which those are also spoken about in the scriptures as well too. You know, with all the helmets and the shields and the bucklers and all these different things. All right, but nevertheless, you know, these also are going to be some of the tools to be used to take out America. All right, not only are these the S-400 or these types of systems capable of being defensive. All right, all they have to do is swap out the or really just reprogram it, not even reprogram it, switch the settings on it, and it can be used as an offensive weapon. All right, and this is one thing that America cries about sometimes here and there. They're like, well, you know, because in their defense, well, Russian will say, oh, well, it's defenses only. It's only defenses. Why y'all tripping over defensive weapons? You shouldn't be scared of them if you don't bring your ass over here. And America's like, well, all y'all got to do is swap out the program on this shit, and you can use them as an offensive weapon. But nevertheless, we already know what the ultimate end game goal is with these things, all right? The first contract between Turkey and Russia on the air defense system was signed back in late 2017, a $2.5 billion deal envisioned delivery of 4 S-400 batteries, including launchers, command, and logistic vehicles, as well as missiles for the system. The delivery of the system began in 2019 and have been completed. Now, one thing that they don't mention in these articles is the fact that what Russia does is they don't just sell you these weapons and things like that, and then you just take care of them. No, what they do is that they'll sell you the weapons, but you can't use the weapons. You can't. Your military don't do shit with these weapons, all right? They send a whole crew over there. They send a maintenance crew, a military crew to operate these things, to service these things, and everything else like that. So if you can imagine back when Obama was trying to steal Venezuela and everything like that, they was like, yo, they was going to go over there, but then at the same time, Russia was like, oh, well, we got to do a mandatory maintenance on the S-300 over there, so we're going to send our troops over there. So now if America was to sit here and bomb not only the weaponry over there, all right, they would 9 times out of 10 hit some Russian soldiers. Either one they hit, that's basically a declaration of war against Russia. So they have to be careful how they walk onto these quote-unquote minefields, all right? So it's not as easy as like, well, we'll accidentally just drop a bomb over there and blow up the S-400. No, because then Russia will retaliate on these things, all right? It says, an Ankara's move prompted a furious reaction in the U.S., with Washington repeatedly attempting to pressure Russia into abandoning the deal, claiming the S-400s were incompatible with and even potentially dangerous for NATO systems. See, that's the short way of saying it. Like I said, it just pretty much renders their shit useless. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine you trying to carry out this plan, bringing some shovels on the airplane because you got to do your dirty work. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden they got these damn x-ray machines. It's like, fuck, now how do we get our goddamn shovels on the planes without this here thing? We want to go against them having these little scanners and things like that, all right? So this is America's basically argument, all right? Turkey, however, has not bowed to the pressure with the S-400 issue, leaving a major dent in the country's relations with the U.S. The deal ultimately prompted Washington to kick an Ankara out of the F-35 fifth-generation fighter program, canceling sales of the aircraft. All right. And like I said, man, this is putting America between a rock and a hard spot, because back in the olden days, they could just be like, you know what? We're going to kick y'all out the F-35 program, and now y'all an enemy. Now y'all, how they say, a threat to national security. We're going to just go over there and bomb y'all ass. Or, all of a sudden there's terrorists in your spot. Now we got to go over there and blow them up. But see, what are they going to do now? They want to kick Turkey out of the F-35 program. Well, if they can't get the newest generation fighter planes from America, who the fuck you think they're going to get them from when they already got a decent relationship with Russia, who's selling them missile defense systems? And here's something else on a side note. The Russian plane and the Chinese plane, which is pretty much the same plane, the Russian plane is far more sophisticated, and it actually delivers all the things that they had on the checklist, which America's planes, they have all those same things, but they can't deliver all these things. But nevertheless, the Russian plane is a better plane. It actually is functional, and it actually works, all right, and everything else like that. But nevertheless, it's actually a cheaper plane, all right? Now, America also has missile defense systems like the THAAD system, the Patriot system, and things like that. But nevertheless, these systems are pretty much really old and out of date, all right? It's like basically them using the old S-300 system, or the generation right before the S-300 system, which the S-300 is a pretty old system. But nevertheless, and these systems cost more than the Russian-made systems, and they're shittier systems, all right? So America has the first strike doctrine, where they reserve the right for a preemptive strike. This is how they get around all these things. It's like, look, we don't really care about defenses. We only care about offenses. We just want to be able to strike them first, and we don't give a damn about anything else on the backside, because we plan on taking them out with the first strike. All right. But nevertheless, when you look at America's air defense systems, they can't first of all, they can't hit with more than a 70 or 50% accuracy rate. They can't even hit one projectile out the sky. Nevertheless, they've already stated that they can't stop a bombardment of missiles coming in, which that's what the Satan 1, Satan 2, and the Satan 3 missiles have multiple warheads inside the damn tip. All right, so it ain't no stopping these things. All right, we're just seeing these things getting built up further and further for this here World War III. All right, let's jump into some scriptures. Let's just jump straight to that verse. Well, let's go to Obadiah 1:7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have bought thee even to the border. Now, going into this here word confederacy, these are the men that are in a conglomeration or in a group or in league They have peace treaties. They're allies together. So it says all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Now it's not just Turkey that's doing these things, or have a squabble with America, or they not on great relations. All right, when you seen Trump was in office and he was asking more for the NATO spending and things like that, he was going at Angela Merkel and them over there in Germany and shit, and she was like, man, we broke. We ain't got enough money to keep increasing on all these things. And then they had a sour relationship and everything else like that, all right? Then you have obviously Turkey with the F-35 situation, S-400, all right? And they trying to get these weapons, and they pretty much getting kicked out of the F-35 program, but still a part of NATO because, again, America can't just let them go like that, all right? Because it's going to cause more problems than it is going to help them out. So now they just got to suck it up and leave this sour taste in their mouth. You know, it's like you committed all these crimes with somebody. They got all this here blackmail on you. Now you don't like this motherfucker no more, and you want to go do something with him. It's like, you know what? I can't just tell on this motherfucker, or I can't just do X, Y, and Z because he got so much dirt on me. You know what I'm saying? He got me on with all this here dirt. So, you know, if I'm mad that he done stole $5 from me, right? I can't just go, man, he done stole $5 from me. But like, well, what's more? What more is a bigger loss? Me losing this here $5 he stole from me, or me facing 50 years in prison because all the crimes we didn't committed together, and plus he has the evidence that I committed these crimes with him. All right, I'd be better off just taking that L and just like, you know what, I'll just be out with that $5. And so this is the position that America's in. All right, you also have France. That also France and Germany, they want to build them a joint fighter jet themselves. All right, but nevertheless, you have like the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. All right, with Russia. All right, they trying to sell natural gas over there to them. But see, this is America's allies, and they would rather them buy the fuel from Saudi Arabia so that America can line their pockets with it. All right, because see, you didn't cut out the middleman by dealing with Russia, but their natural energy is a better quality, it's cheaper, and it's closer for them to get it to you. All right, but see, America is like, nah, hell nah. If we ain't getting none, you see, everybody's starting to cut America up out of the picture. All right. Obadiah 1:7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. So now, see, you starting to see a lot of America's allies are like, you know what, we want out of this here situation. We want out of this here program. We want out of these deals. We don't want to be going back over here with everything else. Hell, with the Afghanistan thing, you know, they may be running back into Afghanistan and things like that. Whereas a lot of America's allies are like, nah, bro, it's been 20-some years and we ain't benefiting nothing out of it. It's just coming out in the open. They didn't spend, I believe, $2 to $3 trillion over there in Afghanistan, all right, and trained all these damn soldiers and everything else like that, and brought military equipment over there to stop the Taliban, and now they in talks with the Taliban, all right, to go fight off some other terrorists. And both of these groups, they created both of these groups, man. All right, look up Hillary Clinton in court. This was some years back, talking about the damn Taliban and how America they created the Taliban. All right, when they was fighting off Russia with their ass, they was paying it what they would call moderate rebels, all right, to go fight them off, man. All right, and the same thing with Syria, man. All right, but nevertheless, hey, this is them getting caught in their own snares, man. All right, which is gonna ultimately cause a lot of their allies to be like, yo, bruh, you the problem, you the issue. We wouldn't be having all these goddamn terrorists if you wouldn't arm terrorists to fight these proxy wars for you over here and over there. Then after you destroy these niggas, all right, they just looking around like, wait, you done did this to our country. You done gave us all these guns and trained us up, man. How about we blow your ass up and just walk the fuck off? All right, these are the things that's going on. These are the snares that America's setting up for their own selves, man. All right, how you gonna be bullying all your allies and expect them to come to your aid at the end of the day, man? How you gonna be trying to charge them an arm and a leg for weapons and things like that when they can get better weapons at a cheaper price? How you gonna be trying to skyrocket the rate of natural energy when these people over here going bankrupt trying to buy your shit, and then you keep manipulating the market and everything else like that just to keep one person down, man? All right, these people are saying, look, we're better off without you in this here picture, man. All right. Going back, Obadiah 1:7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is no understanding in him. And hey, Turkey, all right, is showing forth that wound that they've laid up under them, all right, because of why? All right, they eat the bread, all right, they've been built up and everything else like that from America, all right, being a part of NATO and getting all this here training and everything else like that, and allowing, you know, certain things to, or certain, you know, funnels of money to flow back into their pockets and things like that. All right. But now and keep certain people off their back porch and everything else like that. But now ultimately there's like, you know what, we can benefit from dealing with Russia. All right. And then now what is America going to do? Pull the plug on us? All right. This is going to bring the house of cards down on them. All right. So now the men that were at peace with thee, the men that were getting built up from thee, they've now gone on their own, and there's nothing you can do about them, man. All right. Let me go from there to Ezekiel 38. Let me start at verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army. So now you're starting to see Russia getting built way back up, man, to this major superpower like the USSR. What's the difference between the USSR and Russia? All right, the USSR. Well, today you was looking at the USSR as being a conglomeration of nations, but back then it was just one big ass nation. All right, but what you've seen happen with the end of the Cold War, you had all these other little nations before, like I believe Latvia and Belarus and all these other little nations right there on the border of Russia. But now they're starting to come back onto Russia. You got the whole Ukraine situation going on as well too in the background. All right, where they basically split that in half. But hey, that's still Russia. All right, but nevertheless, you starting to see that Russia is becoming this big powerhouse again, man. This big military superpower, man. Going back to time of what your boy name was, Joseph Stalin and all of them, Lenin and what's the other guy's name? Karl Marx, Lenin, and Stalin and all of them. They going back into that great power force, man. All right, an unstoppable force. All right. It says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and bring thee forth in all thy army. Horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company. All right, a great company, not just Russia, multiple nations. All right, with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. All right, also going into as far as the shields, the helmets, the bucklers, the shields. All right, these are all defensive type of weaponry. All right, and this is what you see in Russia exporting to these other nations at this point in time, man. They're not really exporting not in the news, the open news, that they're exporting any offensive weapons. You don't hear them exporting Satan 1, Satan 2 missiles and things like that to these other nations, not yet anyway. All right, but ultimately we know that they're going to be a guard. Well, let me keep reading. Verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tomargov, the north quarters, and his bands and many people with thee. All right, so, also including Turkey. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. All right, so Russia is now being a guard, a protector unto these other nations. All right, so again, looking at Turkey, they're in a great spot. So America's over here bitching about them getting this S-400, but just let it play out. Like, all right, look, man, we're going to sanction y'all. We're going to kick y'all out. We're going to wage war against y'all. All right, bring y'all ass over if y'all want. First of all, you can't fly the F-35 over here. We'll blow y'all out the sky. And even if y'all do come over here and overwhelm us, Russia's our ally, so you'll just trigger World War III, and then you're going to have really Russia at your door preemptively before you really want to handle all that smoke, man. So this is where they stuck in between a rock and a hard spot. This is where they're in a place where they can't move and they can't get anything done because, hey, man, any move that you make right now is really could be your last move, all right? So it says, verse 7 again, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, all right? And we also see Russia is keep, upgrading their systems and things like that, all right? Be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Let's go over to Jeremiah. I want to say it's verse 51 and... Yep. Jeremiah 51 and 11, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. All right, part of the things that these nations are starting to purchase, or Russia's starting to sell to these other nations and things like that. All right, make bright the arrows. They also have these smart missiles nowadays, the hypersonic missiles, nuclear power cruise missiles, the Satan 1, Satan 2, and Satan 3. All right, the S-400, even with the S-400 system, man. All right, let's say that they shoot off like 10 different missiles, right? And one missile hit the target that all 10 of these missiles got. Let's say they're going to shoot off 10 missiles and they all about to hit one building, right? The same building. But now the first missile hit the first building before the other 9 can get there. These other 9 missiles, they programmed to go hit, all right, we're going to reacquire different targets now and go hit these other ones. Talk about smart missile technology, man. All right, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, all right, which is basically going into these Russians, man. And you've seen ever since Vladimir Putin got in the office, man, just looking at his demeanor since day one, this man has been on a mission, man. All right, this is, hey, man, hey, Vladimir Putin is really, well, really all of these people are all pulling out the will of the Most High, whether you see it on this end or that end, and it's all working together for the greater good of the Most High, man. All right. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon, all right, which is America, to do what? To destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. All right, so, hey, we see that, Russia is not only developing newer weapons, all right, they're also acquiring more and more allies, whether it be off of natural gas and energy, all right, whether it be over trade. You have the BRICS nations and everything else like that trying to get off the petrodollar. All right, you have joint military drills going on with nations like China, Iran, all right, Russia. All right, so now you're starting to see them coming together and being a joint military bloc, all right, in which all these steps that America is taking, all right, they're the ones creating their own trap, their own snare, man, like the scriptures say, man. All right, you wouldn't have these nations banding together and everything like that with their faces all turned towards America if you wouldn't be bullying all their asses like this, man. All right, if you wouldn't all put them all in the same scenario and everything else like that, man, you wouldn't have these types of scenarios happening, man. But the more and more of an asshole you be into these other nations, the more and more they like, you know what, let us see if we can find us another dealer, man. All right, so you the one pretty much pushing these people to go to these other spots, man. All right, you got two different restaurants, selling dollar burgers, right? You got, let's say, burger spot A, burger spot B. Now, they both selling the same exact burger, the same quality and everything else like that. We can both go get 99-cent burgers from both spots. But one restaurant decided they're going to start charging more and more for these burgers. They're not increasing anything else on it. So now you got a 99-cent burger over here with these things on there. Then you got a $10 burger over there. They keep increasing the prices and they're taking off things from this here burger. So ultimately what you're going to do is drive all your customers to realize, like, you know what, why are we paying more for this here burger? The burgers used to be 99 cents. Now they $10, and we ain't even getting all the toppings. Ain't no lettuce, no tomatoes, no ketchup, no mustard. All right? We can go over there and get a 99-cent burger with all this shit on top of that. While we spend over here $10 over there just because they want to make more in profit. You know what? We're going to just go over to this here other spot, man. All right? The spot that kept the 99-cent burger, they didn't have to go and undermine the other burger spot to get all these people to come to them to increase their business. No. The first burger or the second burger spot shouldn't increase all their prices to drive all the people to run over to the other burger spot, man. And this is the snare that America is laying for their own self, man. All right, you can read about that in the book of Job, but nevertheless, we know that all these things are going to bring them to the king of terrors, man. Ultimately, it's going to bring them to their end. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.